Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for Taboo Tattoo, Episode 6. Alright, and there are multiple parts to this episode, most of which involve Brad. Crunchyroll calls him Blood, but my anime list calls him Brad. And at first, Blood kind of sounds like a cool name, but then you say it a few times, and then it's just not cool anymore, so I'm just going to call him Brad, especially since he's American, so it makes sense for his name to be Brad. Which now makes me think maybe I should be calling Cal Carr instead, but I'll just stick to Cal. Actually, speaking of Cal, we could just start off with her and Mish and Aryabhata, because this is like the one of the two scenes in this episode that doesn't involve Brad. Okay, it turns out that Cal just hates Brad with a passion and wants to kill him incredibly badly. She views him as a traitor, and because of that, she thinks that it is her duty as the vice captain of the Brahman to punish him. Okay, because we learn in this episode that he is not actually a member of the Brahman. He started off as a member of the U.S. Army, and then left them to join the kingdom and join the Brahman. And then he left them because he disagrees with them as well. So I was right about people changing sides. I was just wrong about who it is that changes sides. Yeah. So actually, there was something else I was right about, but I'll get to that later. First, let's finish off the stuff with Cal and Mish and Aryabhata. They are currently at the location of the fourth ruins. And Aryabhata, they walk up to like this crystallized stuff. You can see it in the opening, but they walk up to this like crystal pretty much like this crystallized stone, and Aryabhata literally just walks inside of it. Like she literally just walks up to it and just like goes inside of it and stuff. And once she's inside of it, you can see her like drawing stuff. Like I don't really know what it is she was drawing, but I'm assuming it's what she needs to do in order to take control of the ruins, because we hear later on in the episode that the kingdom actually controls 2 of the 4 ruins while the US controls 1, and this is them trying to take control of the 4th ruins that are in Japan. So I'm guessing this is just some type of ritual that is required to have control over the ruins. But I don't really know what else it is she could be doing. Maybe she has to do that in order to activate the tattoo that's there. I don't know. But while she was in there, she talked about how despair is a disease that results in death. And then she name-dropped Kierkegaard, which I'm not really sure what Kierkegaard means. I really don't know. And I honestly could have looked it up in case it was an actual word, but I didn't feel like it, because I just assumed it was an anime word, a word that they just created. Though I don't know, I guess if I really wanted to, I could look it up. But this review is long. It's going to be long. Obviously I'm recording it right now, so I don't know how long it's going to end up being. But if literally any of my other Taboo Tattoo reviews are any indication, it's probably going to be around half an hour. So hopefully I can get through this quickly. Which I know is not going to happen quickly by my standards, so like 20 minutes, which also probably isn't going to happen, but especially if I keep making jokes and getting off topic instead of sticking to Taboo Tattoo. So anyway, actually, yeah, let me get to Brad. Okay, at the end of the last episode, we see Brad pretty much kidnapping Seiki, and he ends up taking him to Aryabhata's high-order physics lab. It's where they do their tattoo research in Japan. Okay, and the main thing they're doing there is studying noise canceller devices. Okay, Brad ends up saying that their research has shown that you can use the human brain to render tattoos ineffective, which these noise cancelers still have yet to be fully explained, which is actually kind of annoying, to be honest, because the copy tattoos were explained, and the copy tattoos having the noise canceller ability, that was explained, but they never explained the actual noise canceller devices like what Laka was using. I'm just going to assume here that I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt here and say that, you know, it was the berserkers that we saw here that they had their tattoos activated and they were using uh, the noise canceling ability of the copy tattoo rather than the device that Locke was using. But even so, it's still really annoying that we're 6 episodes in and there's still confusion as to what these basic concepts are. Like, noise canceling has been relevant in literally every single episode since like episode 3, and we still aren't sure how exactly it works. We're still learning basics about it. So that's kind of annoying where every episode I have to try to make up this theory about how stuff works because they just haven't explained it yet. It's okay to do that stuff with like individual abilities like Mish, or Laka. It's okay to do that with extra stuff that you're adding on, like the triggerless tattoo, for example. It's only natural that we don't understand everything about the triggerless tattoo. But something basic like noise canceling and copy tattoos that get used almost every episode, we should know everything there is to know about that by now. So a part of me is kind of annoyed that I still have to try to come up with theories about noise canceling, but oh well. Oh well. All right, now this is actually when we get the confirmation of my theory from last week. Okay, so last week I said that there is a triggerless tattoo for each of the ruins, which ended up being true. There are 4 ruins and there are 4 triggerless tattoos. Okay, I also predicted that Aryabhata has one, which also ended up being true. What I didn't notice is that Brad had one as well, which I don't really know how I could create this entire theory that ended up being right. But then I don't notice that Brad's tattoo on his tongue is the exact same one that Seigi has. I don't know how I missed that. Because I was too focused on the fact that this dude just knocked out Seigi like that. I was too focused on that. Then he like put his tongue out, and I saw the tattoo there, but I wasn't paying attention to the design of that tattoo. I was only paying attention to the fact that his tattoo was on his tongue, and that he just knocked out Seigi like that. So I just wasn't focusing on the specific design of the tattoo or anything. I just wasn't. All right, so that's why that happened. But anyway, it's still pretty cool. So you have Aryabhata being the first. I'm assuming she's the first. Then Brad is the second, and then Seigi is the third. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure that it matters. Um, we know that Brad is closer to dying than Aryabhata is, so it would make sense that he used his powers more than she does. But we haven't really seen her use the triggerless tattoo at all, except for that one time she summoned the source, the avatar. So it could be that she's had her tattoo longer than Brad has, but she just reserves her power and then just has the Brahman do crap for her instead. So there's no real way to tell. But the point is, the 3 of them are the current triggerless tattoo users, and once Aryabhata finishes her little ceremony or whatever, they'll get the 4th triggerless tattoo, and I guess we'll have all 4 of them. I mean, let me say this. Eventually, while Brad and Seigi are in this lab, they get attacked. Okay, and there's Brad is actually capable of sensing a person's bloodlust, and it allows him to better defend himself and others because he can sense their attacks coming. And he tells Seigi that he'll have to learn it. So that's actually something interesting to hear, because not every series has the whole bloodlust thing where you can sense a person. Like, some people change it up a little bit. Like Bleach has spiritual pressure, but other series, a lot of martial arts series do have a bloodlust, like you can sense it, kind of thing. So it's cool to see that this series has it as well. It adds another level to the power scheme. So that's, but it's not like so major that it's like something else we need to learn about. We already know about it because like other people have done it. It's so it's a decent addition to the power scheme. It adds a level it allows them to be better capable of defending themselves, especially when you have people like Laka, who will use noise cancelers without having his own tattoo activated, because they have ways to sense when a person's tattoo is activated. But if someone like Laka doesn't activate their tattoo and tries to rely on the noise canceling device, you can't really sense them coming. So if a person's capable of sensing bloodlust, it might make them better capable of defending themselves against that surprise attack. So it actually does add an interesting layer to the power scheme. But anyway, we end up meeting Mr. Genius, whose real name is Karam, and he referred to Brad as a key, which means that every person with a triggerless tattoo is a key. All right, and this, back to what I was going to talk about before, the question that you ask yourself now is, when they finish this ceremony and they get the fourth triggerless tattoo and they find a person who is actually capable of using this tattoo and they get the fourth key, what does it unlock? You know, what's going to happen when these four triggerless tattoo users, when these four keys come together? What's going to happen? And we may have gotten our answer later when Brad talks to Izzy, but I'll save that for later because I'm already have this review a little scrambled up. I'm taking care of it in parts, as you will see. So I'll just save that for later when I get to the whole Brad and Izzy conversation. But for now, we'll just stick with Karam. He says that Brad's destiny as a key is to die. Okay. And that makes it sound like whenever these four keys come together and accomplish whatever and unlock whatever it is they're unlocking, the secrets of the world, the secrets of the underworld, as Wise Man said. That was the other thing that I didn't notice, that the guy who gave Seiki his triggerless tattoo is the same guy from the opening who creepily he creepily just sticks his arm out in the open. I can't the cameras there's not enough space to do it, but the guy who creepily sticks his arm out in the opening, I think it's around the time when you see Tom smoking, but he sticks his arm out. Why the guy? That's the same guy who gave Seiki his tattoo. So that's another thing I didn't notice. But I mean, that's normal though, because I mean the guy's face was mostly. I mean, come on, give me a break, okay? Just give me a break. At least I predicted that he would be relevant at some point, and that he would show up again. At least I predicted that, even without noticing him in the opening. So give me some credit there, okay? But this guy says that Brad's destiny as a key is to die, which insinuates that when the keys come together and unlock whatever it is they're unlocking, they're all going to die. But I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't seem like Aryabhata has. It doesn't seem like she plans on dying anytime soon. So it makes me question that. But this isn't the kind of thing you just say to sound cool. Oh, your destiny is to die by my hand. That's a villain thing to say. But this is different. This is you're literally pairing together his death with him being a key, saying that he's going to die because of the fact that he's a key. So unless this means that they're going to kill him and take the key from him and then use it, Brad is going to die. That's what they're pretty much saying, that because of the fact that he's a key, his being a key is going to lead specifically to his death. Okay, in some way, shape, or form, he's going to die specifically because of the fact that he is a key. So I don't know if this is because of the effect of the four keys coming together, or if it's just because they're going to go after him and try to take the key from him. But it's going to lead to him dying at some point, or at least them trying to kill him, or him almost dying. All right. Anyway, this is when we meet the berserkers that Karam created. In order to create them, he had to force them to assimilate with the copy tattoo source, which is the nucleus of the tattoo. Manisha, I think her name was Manisha. She says that the sources could also be considered the soul or the spirit of the tattoo. So I'm thinking the avatar, what I've been calling the avatar. Again, we're in episode 6 and we're still learning basics. This should have been episode 2 or 3, honestly. But that's the one thing that there are two things: the out of place comedy, and then the fact that they wait so long to reveal basic information, actually basic information. We've been seeing these avatars show up since episode 1, and you're just now telling us what they are in episode 6? Like, honestly, I mean, they kind of mentioned it last episode too, but I mean, like, this is when they actually start talking about what exactly it is. So that's too long. That's just too long. You need to tell us this in episode 2 or 3. Like, actually, you just need to. Okay. Um, but anyway, yeah, these berserkers, they have been forced to assimilate with the source of a copy tattoo, which takes away their ego and their will, and yeah, that's exactly what it does. It takes away their ego. It takes away their will. All right, so they're just mindless attack. They're berserkers. That's exactly what they are. They're berserkers. Okay, and also Karam put these bombs in the back of their head like they're in the freaking Suicide Squad, which is a great movie, by the way. Screw the critics. That movie is great. You need to go watch it. Okay, you do, because it's just I am impressed by how much character development they were able to spread amongst the entire squad. Like, I went to that movie expecting to not care about half these guys, and I care about pretty much all of them afterwards. El Diablo is the man, I'm telling you. El Diablo, he was the one I thought I was going to care the least about. And that dude, that dude's the freaking man, okay? El Diablo's a freaking man. But anyway, tangents. Freaking bombs. That's what made me think of it. Yeah, that's right. Karam put bombs in the back of the kids' heads, saying that if you defeat them, the bombs will blow. So you can't kill them. All you can do is let them defeat you. But Brad says no, and he gives Seigi a lesson on justice. Okay, well, he actually does give him a legitimate lesson on justice. But first, he takes out. He uses like a gravitational type of attack to take them out. Karam was forced in this false sense of security because Brad, according to him, Brad isn't capable of using his power on a large scale, because if he does, he'll be devoured by it. But obviously, Brad has control over his power, so it can't be his fault. It has to be source related. It has to be avatar related. It has to be a side effect of using Voidmaker, just like Izzy's side effect of not Voidmaker. The side effect of her tattoo is her not growing and her maintaining her age. The side effect of Voidmaker is that I'm assuming it saps your life force away, because when we see Brad talking with Wiseman later, he actually says that the seal of the triggerless tattoo has a short lifespan. So my guess is that the cost of the triggerless tattoo is that whenever you use Voidmaker, it doesn't just absorb whatever it is you're using it on. It's powered by your life force. So if Brad has used it so much that his life force is almost gone, and if he uses it too much, that'll be enough to just take the rest of his life force away and kill him. That's what my theory is. All right, and I have a pretty good batting average right now. Okay, I got a pretty good batting average with my theory, so I'm just putting it out there. I'm putting it out there to say maybe that's the cost of the Voidmaker. Okay. But anyway, also his appearance in the opening makes much more sense now. We see him when the chorus starts to play, and he's fighting that girl who has her eyes sewn shut, and he has like just the black aura surrounding his hand. Now it makes sense because he can only use Voidmaker to a certain degree, right? So he can't create these huge freaking Rasengans like Seigi can. So now his appearance in the opening makes more sense. Okay. But Brad, he's, like I said before, he summons the source, and he uses a gravitational-like attack on the berserkers and just knocks them all out at once, while simultaneously eliminating the threat of the bombs. And when Karam questions why the noise canceller didn't work, Brad says that it's because they had taken the ego away and like the thoughts away of the berserkers, which makes me think that in order to activate the noise canceling ability, you must consciously make the decision to activate it. Like you can't just give it to a robot, and well, no, because that then I'm tired of creating theories of freaking noise cancelers. I'm tired of it. Just explain it. Just explain things to us. But okay, here's what I'm thinking. In order to activate the noise canceling ability of a copy tattoo, your mind has to like actually send the signal to the tattoo, and you have to tell the tattoo. You have to actually consciously want to activate it. But because these berserkers had lost their ego and they had like no will of their own, they were incapable of actually making the conscious choice of using that tattoo. They couldn't want to activate it because they can't want anything because they're berserkers. They have no ego anymore. But Laka is capable of remotely activating a noise canceling device because he had. My theory is that they synced it up to his brain or something where he can do it remotely. I don't know. I'm tired of coming up with theories for noise canceling devices. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Just explain stuff to us. Just explain stuff to us. Ah. Anyway, um, this is when after this is when Brad teaches Seigi the important lesson that he somehow didn't understand after his many encounters with Mish. He explains to him that everybody has their own brand of justice, and a hero has to have the resolve to force their brand of justice onto others regardless of how far they have to go to do it. Okay, sometimes you gotta fight for what you believe in, and it's naive to think that you can just sit there and tell people, this is what I want, and you should do it, and then they're just going to go ahead and do it. That's naive. That's stupid. Okay, like that's just ridiculous. Okay, he ends up saying that people who believe that they could just talk to someone and fix everything, those kind of people only exist in fiction. Okay, believe it. They only exist in fiction. Doesn't make it any less cool when they do it, but most things are not going to be. Most conflicts are not going to be resolved that way in real life. So accurate. But it doesn't make it any less cool when you could just talk someone down. Dude, like in Superman, in Jeff Johns' Man of Tomorrow storyline in Superman, when Superman has used his solar flare power and temporarily loses his powers, and he goes to stop. They actually adapted this in the Supergirl TV show on CBS that is now moving to the CW, which is awesome because now it's in the Arrowverse. And I know I'm getting off on another tangent, but I humor me here. So in the Superman storyline that ended up getting adapted in Supergirl, Superman loses his powers temporarily because of his new solar flare ability, and but he can't let people know he doesn't have his powers because then the crime will just go up and people will go crazy. So there are these people who are trying to. There's this guy trying to rob a store of some sort, and Superman goes there and he walks in, and the guy points his gun at Superman, and Superman doesn't have his powers, so if he gets shot, he's dead. But he just tries to talk the guy down and says, you know what, listen, if you want to, you can shoot that gun, but know that if you shoot that gun, you are making things much worse for yourself. And I'm not, the reason I'm here isn't to stop you. The reason I'm, or, I mean, it is, but the reason I'm here isn't because I don't like you. The reason I'm trying to talk you down from this isn't to try to save people here. The reason I'm trying to talk you down from this is to save you. Because you can just drop that gun right now, and your situation will be so much better than it is if you actually pull the trigger. Like, and he just like it was a powerful moment because a powerless Superman is using his words to talk someone down for making the biggest mistake of their life. And it was just a powerful scene. So yeah, it's true that that kind of thing would probably never happen in real life, but it doesn't make it any less awesome when it does happen. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Brad is 100% right that this wouldn't happen in real life and it's just fiction. But I'm just saying it's still cool when it happens. And I'm just I'm a big fan of fights, but I'm also kind of a closet fan of not fighting and just talking people down because it's just cool. It's cool to see. It's different. You don't see it that often. So anyway, and Brad is still right though. He is right. Okay. And Brad's his sense of justice. He is who Seigi wants to be. He is who Seigi should be. He is who Seigi should and does aspire to be. If you look at his conversation with Toko later on, Brad is who Seigi wants to be. His idea of justice is very, very similar to Seigi's, and he actually has the ability to back it up. He sticks to his logic, and it's just he's actually Brad and Aryabata are my two favorite characters in the show. Aryabata because she's freaking awesome, and Brad because he's freaking awesome too. This was the breakout episode for Brad. He's just so freaking great. I love him. He's great. You know, if Seiki was a champion level Digimon and he warp Digivolved, he would Digivolve into Brad. Brad would be his mega level form. Okay, that Seiki is going to, or at least he should become Brad in the future. Someone who has the sense of justice, has the resolve to force it on the people, and sticks to his guns, fights for what he believes is right, and has the power to actually back up his work. Like, that is who Seiki should aspire to be, and it's great that he actually does see that and acknowledge it and know that that's who he should try to be, and that's who he should look up to and try to emulate. So that's actually really cool to see, and you can actually see the change in Seigi's resolve because he starts to actually train with Brad, and he wants to learn from Brad how to get more control over the Void Maker. He asks for advice, what degree of control he should strive for. Brad takes one of his hairs, a hair from his head, and shows like the miniature holes in the strand of hair that he created with Void Maker. Like, that's crazy control, and that is now Seigi's goal. Like, that is really good. This is actual progression from Seigi. Like, this is great. Seigi with actual progression. Yes, this is fantastic. Okay, but that's actually the rest. That's pretty much the end of what we see from. Pretty much. I mean, we had a nice scene with Toko at the end, where she strengthened her own resolve to be there for Seigi whenever he needs her. So that was actually really nice. But other than that, this is the last we see of Seigi. So I guess the next part is to just discuss Wiseman. Brad ends up meeting up with him and gives him some data that he took from the lab. We actually see Brad's hand fall off, and then he just picks it up, sticks it back on, uses the restorative power of the triggerless tattoo, and now he's healed. Like, so that's some Wiseman himself says it, like the restorative power of the triggerless tattoo is incredible, but the downside is the fact that your lifespan significantly decreases, of course. You know, so Wiseman, we may be able to see Brad get around that though, because Wiseman gives Brad this nano machine pill, well, a pill with nanomachines in it, and he claims that this pill, these nanomachines, will interfere with his cerebrum and access the source code of the tattoo and add to it. And my assumption is that the code that he's adding to the source code of the tattoo, because apparently these tattoos have source code in your brain. Again, we keep introducing this we keep introducing this stuff. Like, I would honestly, I'm not a big fan of like 15-minute info dumps, but I might honestly have just preferred a 15-minute info dump to just now getting this information. Like, you don't have to. Oh, I don't know. To be fair, a 15-minute info dump would have just like made a lot of people drop the show much faster. So I don't know, but I'm just tired of getting random bits of information that are incredibly relevant. Like, you can manipulate the source code of a tattoo. Like, what are tattoos? What is this? What is this? Like, I'm just more confused than ever, you know. So I just don't know what to think anymore. But I'm just assuming that the source code they're adding on is just a way to prevent him from dying by using too much of his power. I'm just assuming that that's what they're adding on here. Okay, but when Wiseman gets the data, he tells Brad that he is now that he knows what Aryabhata is planning, now that he knows what her goal is, he either has to fight back or spend an eternity in servitude. All right. So he, I guess he wasn't originally going to help. I don't know. I don't know what his position is in this show with this. Like this guy is a wild card. Okay, he is. He's a wild card. I don't really. He's right now. He's an ally of Brad, but I don't really know what his own personal long term goal is. Okay, I don't really know. But for now, he says he's going to help Brad. So I wouldn't. Don't be surprised if this guy goes rogue later on, because it's clear he's right now he's doing the enemy of my enemy is my well. There's no well. For that to be true, Brad would have to be the enemy, but he's saying right now we have a common enemy, so let's work together. That's what he's saying. So I don't know what his own personal goals. There's a very good chance he could just go rogue at some point, and try to accomplish whatever his own personal goals are. Okay, but after that, I'm looking at my notes because again, because with the reviews this long, there's no way you can remember all this stuff. So I have some notes here. All right, so next is the stuff with Izzy. Okay, after Seigi finishes training with Brad, Izzy shows up, and this scene was kind of confusing because they were talking about an oscillator of some sort, which and how Brad probably noticed it. I'm just gonna guess that this is like a tracker of some sort. I don't know. And then Izzy mentions how Seigi trusts him, how Seigi trusts her, and that she doesn't want to have to do this. I don't. What is this? This scene confused me. This scene confused me. I don't. Why? Why don't you just explain? Just explain things. Just explain. Is it really that hard? Just explain. I understand people like having plot twists happen later on, and they like making big reveals later. But this is the type of series where you already have the ability to make a million reveals, so you don't need to hide every single one of them. It's okay to give us information. It's okay. It's okay. Just explain what this is. Explain what an oscillator is. Just explain things. Okay? But one big thing that I did get out of this is that Izzy has feelings for Brad, and she had feelings for him, and still has feelings for him. I mean, the girl's wearing his old jacket. I mean, come on, like, the girl very obviously has feelings for him, which is kind of awkward since she can't grow, or so like Brad will, no matter how old her mind is, Brad will never really see her as anything other than a schoolgirl, which kind of sucks for her. And she actually had a really sad face here. Like she had like that was the kind of face that makes you just like you just want to go and give her a hug and tell her everything's gonna be okay. Like that was the type of face she made here. It was rough. It was rough. Um, and she started asking him like why it is he left the army and why he just essentially betrayed, like she feels betrayed, so she's asking him why he betrayed her and the rest of the army, and he shifted the conversation away from that to tell her that things are worse than she realizes. Though I guess that's kind of a reason for why he would leave. Things are worse than you realize, and he tells her that the ruins aren't just places to store tattoos, and this is the answer to the question I posed earlier on. What happens when the four keys come together? This is the answer to that question. He says that the ruins aren't just places to store tattoos, but they are the main engines for rewriting the world using the power of tattoos. Okay, so again, you need control of all four keys and ruins and everything. And recall that Aryabhata told Seigi that she could create the world that he's striving for. Okay, so so she's 100% right. She can do that. She gains control of all four ruins and the four keys. She can rewrite the world in a way that she sees fit. She can essentially activate infinite Tsukuyomi. That's exactly what she. I said that jokingly a review or two ago, saying that could be what she's trying to do, but it's actually what she's trying to do. She's trying to rewrite the world. It's not, and it won't be an illusion either. She's literally recreating the world in a way that she thinks is best. And by doing that, she's 100% right. She can create the world that Seigi wants. She can. She can do that. And Brad just tells Izzy to look after Seigi because power changes people. And that can serve not just as a reason for why he himself has changed as a person, but why she should continue to look after Seigi and prevent him from giving in to Aryabata's temptation, because she's trying to pull Seigi onto her side. So there already has been temptation, and there's definitely going to be more later on. So he tells her to look after him, and she decides that at first she thought he had changed a lot, and that was why he left. But she decides that he hasn't changed as much as she thought he had, which, you know, I'm glad Brad called her out on this crap, okay? Because she was calling him selfish and everything, and and he's the logic, just like Seiki said earlier, he's the logical type who believes in his ideals and does everything he can for the sake of justice. But you want to try and call him selfish? He's not selfish at all. His life is on the line here. His lifespan is almost up. This dude is putting his life on the line to prevent the world from falling into the hands of Aryabata, and you're going to call him selfish? And then right after you call him selfish, you're going to tell him that he should care more about your opinion? No, you're the one being selfish, and I'm glad that Brad called her out on it and called her a hypocrite and said that she was contradicting herself, because she was. You can't call someone out for being selfish and then say, my opinion matters, you should care more about what I think. No, you're the one being selfish, because he's putting his body on the line, his life on the line for the sake of the world. He's actually being incredibly selfless. Incredibly. Alright? So, and she's the one who decided to withhold information about Seigi and the Triggerless tattoo from the U.S. Army because of her own personal problems, which we still have yet to learn about, really. And it's understandable why she would do that, but still, you can't be calling people selfish when you're ignoring the greater good, and he's not. Right? So again, so I'm glad he called her out on that. But that's pretty much the end of the episode. The very last thing we see, I believe it was Sanders. I believe it was him. He found the location of the Brahman, and he's going to go after them now. So now, I don't know if he means him personally, or if he's just going to send like Lisa to do it or something like that. I don't know, but they're going to go at the very least. Someone's going after the Brahman. Someone's going after them. I don't know if he means Brad. I don't know if he means Aryabata. I don't know if he means Cal. I don't know if he means Mish. I don't know if he means Locke, or if he means all of them. I don't know. But he's going after the Brahman, or he's going to send someone after the Brahman. Okay, that's what's going to happen next episode. But as for this episode, I will give this episode an 8.5 out of 10, because as much as it annoys me for them to just not give information out, Brad is amazing. He just is. Brad carried this episode. We got Wiseman. We got Aryabata getting to the ruins. We got a nice scene with Toko and Seigi. Toko is a pervert. She is. She isn't a slave to lust, as Cal put it. Cal told Aryabata that she's a slave to lust. So I guess she really is just a pervert. I guess she just kisses people for the heck of it. But 40 minutes, Jesus Christ. The point is, this episode gets an 8.5 out of 10. And that's that, you guys. Rate, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at BlacklistOTA. And I will see you guys next time.